How's it going, guys? What I wanted to do today is to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we'd recently gone through with the frigid temperatures that hit just before Christmas. Of course, around in Kentucky and a few other areas, basically, we got pummeled. Now, we didn't get it anywhere near as bad as places up there in New York, as well as a few other places. But for the most part, there are a lot of lessons that we can learn if we look at some of the disaster that happened as a result of the storm. The first thing that I wanted to talk about in this is the fact that people were traveling, of course, with it being Christmas and all that. People were traveling during this storm, and that is always a bad idea, in my opinion. I know people have lives to where they have family that lives in different parts of the country. But at the same time, we need to recognize the fact that we are taking a great risk in many occasions if we go and travel when there is a major winter storm like that coming through or any kind of a disaster. Another thing is the fact that we've seen, unfortunately, the tragic death of, I believe the last count that I seen was somewhere over 60 people that had died as a result of the super cold weather. And unfortunately, that is an indication right there that, we can do better. For the most part, some of the folks that passed away, there were a lot of homeless, and I think that is just absolutely sad. I do know that there were a lot of businesses that were opening up and inviting people in. And unfortunately, we still see some tragedies. There was a report of one lady up in New York that was in her car when things happened, and unfortunately she passed away as well just because of the super cold. That is horrible. That is just a terrible thing to happen and to hear about. But I think that we can learn from these tragedies, and if the lessons that we learn from those tragedies are a benefit to saving someone else's life, that's what we need to try to aim for. I think that one of the things we should all consider is keeping an emergency kit in our cars. If you absolutely have to travel, especially, there are some folks that get out on the roads and there is absolutely no need for them to be out traveling. It's just, some people just like to get out and ride around, look at the weather, look at things and stuff like that. But if they get into trouble, one of the things that happens is that you not only make it harder for you and endanger your own life, you also make it harder for first responders. They have to go out and use resources to try to rescue someone who didn't necessarily have to be out in that mess in the first place. There's another big lesson that I think that many of us need to strongly consider when we talk about some of the things that happened. The Tennessee Valley Authority, of course, you guys down around Nashville, as well as other parts of Tennessee and even here in Kentucky, know that all of our electricity comes from TVA. One of the things that happened during the super cold weather was that TVA had to reduce electrical demand because they just don't have the generation capacity anymore. If you go back and you look, it was not long ago when TVA actually shut down some of their coal generation plants. They have cut their generation capacity. No matter how you try to dance around it, the environmentalists, that is the reality of what we have. Okay, they cut their generation capacity, and when it got into a period where more power was needed, they did not have the capacity to generate that power, and they ended up shutting off people's electricity right in the middle of super cold weather. We had sub-zero temperatures in this area. And a lot of people, it's not very common for our temperatures to get down to those temperatures, but it does happen. And folks that lost power because of the rolling blackouts really had it bad. I've seen where there were some folks that for 6 to 8 hours had no electricity, and their heat in their home is all electric based. Okay, your super high efficient furnace or whatever, it does not work without electricity. That's just the reality of a lot of this. And a lot of people can supplement their energy, supplement their heat. For us, that's something that I planned for years. That's just my way of thinking on things, as well as a lot of other folks. And for us, we have heat. That's a main thing. You can shut the electricity off in this house and I have heat. Don't have cameras working for very long, or, internet or anything like that, but we have heat. We have the necessities we need for survival. If possible, I think it would be well worth a lot of folks out there to look at some type of heating alternative. I hope that this is something that they would strongly consider when, when to the new year and going forward. Have some type of a resource, whether it is propane, whether it is wood heat, or just whatever, depending on how things are in your area. Folks that are in an apartment complex, that's going to be much more difficult for them. But there again, you need to consider your lifestyle, consider what your long-term goals are, and start working toward those goals. Folks in an apartment complex, obviously you can't go out and have something other than what is there installed for most cases. But there are important lessons to be learned, how to prepare on things like this, what you should do, things that you can have. Heating pads, heating blankets, or some of these Kim hand warmers and things like that. It would be a good idea to keep some of those around. There are battery-powered blankets, electric blankets that are battery-powered, things like that. Clothing that works that way, that literally use a battery pack to help keep you warm. If you can't go and add some type of an alternative heat source to your home, there again, if you live in an apartment, you might look at something like that. That may be some way for you to be able to help keep yourself warm in such an event happening again. And guys, we're not into the coldest part of the winter yet for us. This is just the tip of the iceberg for us. Our cold weather will come in January, February, typically for us in this area, and it's only going to get worse. So if we have sub-zero temps again, you need to prepare for those. But guys, it's a tragedy that some of the things happened, but at the same time, if we take a cautious look at those tragedies, we can look to where we can learn from those tragedies and actually take steps to help others, to help ourselves. Learn from the mistakes of others. Learn from, the bad things that happen. Those that don't learn from mistakes are going to repeat them. But guys, this is just a quick video that I wanted to do. Let me know, guys, were you in anywhere in this area where you lost power? How did you guys manage as far as some of the steps that you had taken? I'm sure that there is a lot of folks that watch this channel. They have wood heat, they have gas heat, or something like that that does not rely on electricity. But just let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel. Be sure to subscribe. Check out all the links down in the description, and we'll see you next time.